New Politics. Nashville's rock station, 102.9 The Buzz. That kicked ass.
Thank you.
Is that off the new one or is that off your first one?
That's actually, it's gonna be off both, because when the story is actually that when we started this band and Yeah 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 came, it kind of shaped the sound off of the first album, the sound of Yeah Yeah Yeah, and Give Me Hope in its original version. We just always loved that, so we
give it a second
spoke
chance.
with the label and we were like, can we put it on in the version that we actually originally wrote? And
that's fantastic to hear a band does that, because sometimes I hear songs and I go, I wish that song would have done, more people would have heard it, or it would have gotten a bigger chance out there. And I've never really kind of heard a whole lot of bands get that opportunity to go and have a record label go, yeah, okay, we'll do something like that. You know,
we love our label.
With different versions. That's funny with the versions, how they like, Lewis loved that. He's like, yeah, that's funny. Like I mean, we like most of these songs, even on the album that we're releasing now on the 21st of May, like they have like slight differences in versions and stuff, and it's so many great different qualities and stuff. But it becomes what it becomes, and then we take it from there.
And the forthcoming effort is called a Bad Girl in Harlem.
Yes.
I've got to know what that means.
It means exactly what it means.
Yeah. Is that just from at this point living in Brooklyn and making your way through there, or is it?
I think you got that pretty good. You nailed that pretty good. And then add a bad girl shaking it, and
sure.
And a little romance, an adventure in a exciting new place. Absolutely.
Is this essentially, would you call this your second tour of America, or did you guys, was your first one kind of just brief, or?
This tour we're on right now?
Yeah.
This is actually our first
This is
tour.
the very first, so you guys never got a chance to tour on the first record?
Oh, sorry.
No, this is
we
like our
toured on,
fifth,
sorry, I meant on this album.
Oh, okay.
No.
This is probably our 7th time.
Is that right?
We
Yeah.
recognize like highways and mountains. Wait, I remember
Barbecue
that.
joints.
I remember this come and go, what's it called, gas station in Iowa or wherever it is.
Best name for
Come
a
and
gas
Go.
station in the world, by the way.
With a K, yeah, the come and
it's
go.
the best, it's the best.
Absolutely, on 80, Highway
First
80. I know exactly what you're talking about. I know exactly what you're talking about.
You've been there, done that.
When you drive out like 20, 30 minutes later, you're in Amish country when you're out there.
It's
You know?
amazing. I love it. That's what I love about America too.
Yeah.
Anything you can possibly imagine, you'll find there,
Yeah.
because here it's amazing. It's so inspiring to see how you within one day the whole landscape change and even the culture changes. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's everything. Mountain ranges, there's swamps, there's tropical.
Gun
deserts.
racks.
Yeah, there's deserts.
Oh,
there's,
I
like,
love that.
Forests, there's mountains, plains.
Yeah, we don't discriminate, but yet we discriminate. It's really weird.
We all do.
Lewis,
Doesn't
what do
matter where
you?
you're from.
Yeah, Lewis, what's your take on having to hang out with cats that just aren't from America? Have you learned to adapt, or are you itching to go over to Europe? Are you the guy that's like, I want to go over there?
Well, I mean, it's always fun going over to Europe with these guys, because it's like when I went to Denmark with them, I had never been to Denmark until I joined New Politics, and it was such a better experience than I can imagine it would be like if I just went over there by myself. They showed me so much stuff and experienced it in a different way than most of like my other friends that have been to Europe, and I have stories that they'll never have. But hanging out with these guys hanging out with these two is like it's insane. It's insane. It's a totally different. They don't realize how different they are.
Yeah.
But they're different. Like just like
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's like there's a difference, and I love it. I mean, sometimes we all have our differences. Like, like in Soren, I'm sure he's gonna bring it up at some point. This guy loves to eat liver paste.
Ugh.
Oh, it's the best. Liver paste. Like, so we have the dark bread with butter and liver paste and pickled beets on top of it, and then fried onions.
Yeah, exactly.
I promise you that, and then snaps, like ice cold snaps, and you're in heaven. Or pickled herring. Ooh, pickled herring.
So good. Did you just say so good too?
So good.
Oh.
Disgusting.
So good.
We haven't had this in so long that it's just like when he
My-
says it, I'm just
oh,
like I
God.
close my eyes and I just like with a little lettuce piece on
it's
the
the
bottom,
best.
just like
Oh.
or like a fisky fillet, which is like a fish fillet, like breaded.
Yeah.
And then you have like there's something called ramulel, which is like it's like
that
it's
nuddle?
like our type of mustard, but it's what is it made of? I
It's
don't
actually
even know.
made of mayonnaise and
Curry?
chopped. No,
No?
it's chopped onion and chopped eggs, and then it's with a lot of like spices and stuff. But there's no
Yeah,
curry.
it has a really distinctive taste,
Yeah.
and it's so good. And you layer that on, and then you squeeze the lemon on, and you put some like deep fried onions on.
Oh,
Disgusting.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have that here too, and it's called a yuck.
that's amazing. My dad actually he dries fish, so we have like fish hanging for like
Yeah.
months. Dried, so you go and you just peel it on the dried fish and you eat it.
Ugh.
It's so good.
But I love when we're in Europe and Lewis comes with because, you know, besides the fact that there's a lot of things we can't talk about on the radio, experiences, but besides that, it's like he also, you know, we all have our pride.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, of course we have, you know, our Danish pride and stuff like that, and you know, so when we're over here, we're like, this ain't a hot dog. You know, what are you talking about? And then you know, we'll discuss like 30 minutes about like this and yeah, but this and well, you know, and then like when we get, you know, like there's also a lot that he hears us talk about, and then when he goes there, he experiences it. You know, it's
Sure.
like, so
We're-
it's like.
We're here with David Lewis and Soren from New Politics. They got their forthcoming second album coming out, A Bad Girl in Harlem. Explain this to me. How is it that bands over in Europe can play festivals? I mean, stadiums. Like Stereophonics is a great example of a band from over there that can fill a stadium, but they can't sell 100 tickets over here. Where does the disconnect happen?
I actually we've thought a lot about that. I think there is something that at least for us that we didn't notice until we were over here is that there's a lyrical content that sometimes in Europe basically the only English speaking country is UK, and there's a lyrical thing that is very important that. We really realized this writing this album that how important it was to actually talk about things that we ourselves can relate to, so other people can relate to it. You know, honesty in lyrical content is very important. And then there is a certain tone. I can't really explain that. I've noticed it there's a harmonic way of writing in Europe and a harmonic way of writing in America, and they're both awesome, I think, but a few bands can cross over from Europe to America.
Yeah.
But a lot of people. I mean, you're so right. There are bands over here and over there that sell thousands and thousands of seed.
Muse
you
is
know.
a perfect example
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah.
Like, Muse were a gigantic rock band in Europe for years. Like when we moved over here 3 years ago, that's where they probably had like, they were being pushed here for about 2 years, and like they're now huge in America
Yep.
as well. But it's like that's like one thing that I really realized in America is that in America it has to be pushed in the face constantly. You have to hear it and see it. Like we have so many fans. Like I've been seeing so many fans on Twitter and stuff say, "Oh my God, I saw you tour with 30 Seconds to Mars 2 years ago," and I just heard your song on radio on Harlem on radio, and I was like, "Oh my God, I know these guys. I saw these guys." And you know, and then right there I can see that they start following us.
Yeah.
It's like they need to see it. It's like it's not enough. It needs to be pushed here. Like it's very like I think there's also so much.
I was just going to
You
say,
know,
I
there's
think
so-
I have a
there's an
theory.
abundance
We are
and-
over-marketed to as a people, and it just, our attention span, squirrel. You know,
Yeah.
it just is. It just is. I think that's a lot of what it has to do with it these days.
And,
today.
and I've seen that like a lot of that, like the more that like if it's maintained and you can like push through it and
Sure.
like, put it in the face, you know, you see it with commercials as well and whatnot. Then you kind of, it becomes a part of your lifestyle a little bit. That's
So
what I see here.
There's
in
actually
America.
something really cool about that too, because it's like survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
So it's a good shit that comes out of it.
Yeah.
And I love competition.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's such an important part of what we do that, you know, even with the whole internet situation going on now, that all these genres are mashing together, and it's not embarrassing to say that you love hip hop even though you like death metal the most. You know, there's whatever you like, it's available to you right on your phone now. You know, that's such an amazing thing, and it
Yeah.
actually it's very hard competition because there's so much all the time. People are
Yes.
making music on an iPad now and putting it out, and I think it's awesome. It's
I'm
amazing.
glad you brought up the combination of genres. We're a radio station that will play Jimi Hendrix, or we'll play Led Zeppelin, or we'll play New Politics or Muse. Why not?
Or Mumford and Sons.
Or Mumford and Sons, exactly.
I mean, you really see that on the alternative, like the alternative rock station. That's really amazes me that there's like, you can have folk, country, rock, alternative, electro. It's like
A
you
true
know, new wave,
appreciation for
like
music.
modern
Yeah.
new wave, and all that. It's just music, and that's really, really incredible. And you even see it on, the top 40. I mean, if you take the top 10, there's a couple of folk and alternative and rock bands. So.
Actually, this might be related to the previous question you had about why there's bands over there that can fill out stadiums. In a lot of these countries in Europe, there is no alternative rock station. There's a radio station, and that one will play Katy Perry, and it will also play Muse. And it doesn't,
So you accept that genre, John?
Yeah, you do.
From moment one.
Yeah, and so when we came over here and we heard from our label, they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna push you guys on alternative rock radio." I was like, "Wait, I've never heard of that before." And then now that we've been here for a little while, I actually feel that this is the coolest genre of the
totally.
entire. I would not want to be on any other chart than the alternative rock
Yeah.
charts, because that's where all the cool happens.
Yeah,
And it's really growing. Like it's becoming such a huge, genre. I mean, it's like to be number one now, you need 3,000 spins a week, and back when we were out with, you needed like 1,500 or 1,000 or something. So it's really growing, which is a great sign as well. But also, in Europe, like in Scandinavia, Spotify and YouTube and stuff like that are some of the things that get used the most for. I mean, Spotify, they count it now that if you have 1 million views on Spotify, you're considered a platinum selling artist.
Wow.
Even though you're not, it's like 98 or some ridiculous amount of number in Scandinavia only use Spotify.
But
On
platinum
their phones,
means
connected to everything.
Platinum means something different, though, here versus, say,
Oh, my
Scandinavia
God.
or Canada.
It's in
or-
relation to the population. So our population's way smaller. Here you need 1 million. We need
50,000.
50,000
Oh
in
no,
Denmark.
25. I think actually
In
for
Denmark.
platinum in
Sweden's
Denmark.
even
Yeah.
Scandinavia!
I know, it's
but
crazy.
it takes it's just as hard. It's just as hard work because you have to reach the people in the same way. It's like it's the equivalent to how many people there are. I mean,
Sure.
America has 330
million,
Yeah,
or
something
something,
like
and
that.
growing.
So, yeah.
But if I'm hearing you guys right, I've got a shot at going gold in Liechtenstein. Is that
Oh,
right?
dude, you have a shot at that.
Good.
Absolutely.
I would-
Get those platinum plaques.
Yes.
But with Spotify and stuff like that and YouTube, you don't have a genre.
Everybody has
So
the...
the kids, when you look at their iPods and stuff like
Everything
that,
shows
there's
up.
dubstep, there's this, there's rock, there's if a song's good, a song's good.
Well, to kind of put the shoe on the other foot and going back to that conversation, we actually have bands here in this town that needed to go over to Europe to break in order to come back.
I can see why.
Kings
because-
of Leon,
I was just
Yes.
gonna say,
Cage the
yeah.
Elephant.
Also, what something I really like about Nashville, because this is a music city, if anything, and this is a very melodic music city, and I think that is a quite European the way of writing here. That there's a lot of beautiful songs coming out of Nashville, and I can really see why that would have a massive impact in Europe.
Yeah.
I really can.
We're hanging here with Soren and David and Lewis from New Politics. They got a gig tonight at 12th and Porter, opening up for 21 Pilots. You with them for at least a good month or two or so, or is it
We
just a
actually
little
today-
quick brief? Your first one today with them?
We
No,
actually
no.
have 9 shows left with them.
Wow, okay.
So-
We've been out for like 2.5
We've
months.
been out for 2.5 months, so it's been great.
What's your plan afterwards?
Our plan afterwards, we're actually not allowed to say it. It's something really
I
big.
like that.
And,
Actually,
and it'll be announced within the
what I
next-
call this, the finger to the nose double secret probation.
But until that happens, we have a couple of radio festival things, quite a few, and then we can talk about the festival.
August,
right?
yeah. In August, we're
Yeah,
doing
August,
Uproar
September.
Fest.
Oh, okay,
Uproar,
yeah.
We're going to be all across the country again.
Excellent,
With
sweet.
a bunch of great bands. I think who's on it? It's
It's like Alice in Chains, Shane's Addiction, Coheed,
Middle Class
Circa,
Rut,
Middle Class Rut. It's gonna be
All
great.
quality, all quality.
Yeah, and then we have a couple of one-off things and stuff, and then that one thing that hopefully we'll post on our Facebook and Twitter and all that soon.
Well, gents, we brought up a bad girl in Harlem, and we've been spinning Harlem itself here at 102.9 The Buzz for some time now, and I'd love to have you guys play that now if you
Yeah,
could.
you bet.
Excellent.
Great. New Politics, Nashville's rock station, 102.9 The Buzz.